So this is the DJI Osmo action camera, and it's available now on Amazon at a pretty sizable discount, and I'm this close to just pulling the trigger and buying this camera. So welcome back to the vlog. It hasn't been that long since the last vlog, but I used to make these every single week, like around this time last year. And speaking of those vlogs, I was just watching through some of them again a few days ago, and it turns out that they weren't quite as bad as I thought they were. And I realized that back in the day, I was watching them with eyes that had been fresh off the editing process, where I've seen every single piece of footage at least twice or more. And so, especially the talking bits, you know, by the time the finished product was out, they were kind of bland and boring to me. But now looking at them with fresh eyes, turns out, yeah, they were better than I gave them credit for, which is always nice. By the way, that was hand-pulled ramen noodles for $3.80. Pretty good bang for buck. If you're looking for some ramen noodles on a budget, this is the place that's recommended. Good. So I was actually here to run a little errand at a bank here. It turns out that this particular branch can't do what I wanted it to do. So that was kind of a waste of time. And hey, I haven't been to this part of Clementi in a while, so I've just spent way too much time on the phone with the bank, digging through my old records all the way back to 2013. Calling the bank again to figure out, you know, a problem that really should be a lot easier to solve than it actually is. And to top it all off, after all of this, as a final step, I need to go to a branch again. Now you may remember me talking about how this is the widest shot that my main camera can do, 24mm equivalent. Actually, I was missing something. I actually had this stabilization technology called Steady Shot constantly activated, and I completely forgot about it. That thing actually crops into my image a little bit. And so this is actually not the 24mm widest shot that this camera can do. This is. You'll notice that it's actually quite a bit wider, which is kind of nice, really. So Steady Shot is actually pretty good, so I have it on all the time and I forgot about it. But I guess now that I'm aware of it, next time I want a wider shot, I just need to remember to switch it off so I can get a little bit more, you know, real estate around here. And speaking of wide shots, the Osmo action camera, which I'm very close to being convinced to purchase. I've made a decision some time ago that I will not be moving up to an SLR or mirrorless. Costs are simply too prohibitive. So given that I thought about it for a bit, it occurred to me that probably the best way for me to expand my horizons is to get an action camera, because number one, I mentioned wide shots before. Action cameras have really wide shots. That is one place in which this camera could supplement what my main camera can already do. And another thing is stabilization. Modern action cameras are surprisingly good at stabilization. Like, you can literally be holding this thing and running and you'll still get really stable footage. Now, I've used gimbals before. I actually borrowed a gimbal from my friend to film my Gardens by the Bay video, and don't get me wrong, gimbals are amazing pieces of technology, but they seem to be rather delicate pieces of hardware, all these delicate gears and stuff like that that you constantly have to watch out for. Whereas, an action camera is like a brick the size of my palm, and you just hold it and then it just does the stabilization work, God knows how, inside that little black box. And then there are a bunch of these other niceties and good to have. It has very good slow motion, which also fills in kind of a shortcoming of this camera, because this camera is technically from about 6 years ago. This camera can only do slow-mo up to 100 FPS on 720p, whereas the Osmo Action can do 4K slow-mo up to 240 frames per second. So that is a very significant upgrade in capabilities in that regard. Although of course, because of the sensor size and everything, the picture quality would not be quite as good. But still, it'll be nice to have such a capability. Also, the Osmo Action is waterproof, which will allow me to fulfill almost a kind of lifelong aspiration to film stuff underwater. Speaking of things that I want to buy, there's the tripod, which I mentioned before I think in these vlogs, but this thing is really starting to come apart now, and I think it really is high time for me to get a replacement. I've tried to keep it alive by, as you can see, duct taping it. So it's coming apart at the seams in a number of places. It is time to get a new tripod. And another thing as well is, you may have noticed that in certain angles, like here actually, you notice that half my face is extremely dark, which isn't ideal. The problem with my room is that the lighting here, as well as the color of the walls, are pretty lousy looking. One of the things that I may be able to do to fix it is to get another light that I could put maybe somewhere around there. So as you can see, plenty of opportunity to be spending money. But before I commit to any of that, I'm gonna try and get some work done, because where's the money gonna come from if one doesn't work? And as with this vlog, I don't anticipate anything else interesting happening today, so we are going to roll over immediately to tomorrow. It's time to go. So I realized that I've been talking about almost nothing but camera stuff lately, but I guess that's just how these vlogs work, right? Whatever that comes to mind will be what I kind of regurgitate. I guess the reality is that whenever I'm in the mood to make these vlogs is usually also when I'm kind of in a camera sort of mood, which is why, that sort of thing tends to just come out. So I probably mentioned this before, but I used to read a lot more before the pandemic, because I used to take the train a lot more, and the trains are a really good place to be getting some reading done. But ever since the pandemic has started and the lockdown has started, I haven't taken the trains as much, so my books have been progressing very slowly. So this is Suntec City, which is actually one of the first shopping malls that I came to when I first came to Singapore. So it's a pretty old mall. It's been here for a really long time, and I always thought it's got this very interesting flavor to its interior. Kind of like it here. Okay, done. That actually took a while, but when it got to my turn, then it was done without too much hassle, so hopefully that's the end of it. Time for a very late lunch. So I'm waiting for my friend to show up, but this is Sukiya. It is a chain, kind of a fast food chain of sorts, from Japan that sells beef bowls, gyudon. They've just opened their first branch in Singapore, and like all things that are a first in Singapore that involves food, this branch has been something of a celebrity place for the past few weeks. We are here at a very odd time now, so there's no queue. Look who's here. There is no queue. Uses koshi hikari rice, apparently. It says Sukicha. What, 3 types of cheese or something on the gyudon?
Triple cheese.
Triple cheese.
Pretty much tastes like one in Japan.
So we are walking to the other station just so that I can have a nostalgic walk through Suntec City.
Everything's changed.
Semi-nostalgic then. Actually, I kind of remember this area.
And this punch
Yeah, this skylight was there. On an unrelated note, it is almost Lazada's birthday. I wonder how I know that. Do you know why it's Lazada's birthday?
I don't know.
And that is gonna wrap up this vlog. But remember when I said that I was probably going to go and do a hike at Sungai Buloh? Well, it turned out that that hike actually happened, and a video of that is inbound soon-ish. So over here, I'm going to leave you with a preview of that video. Enjoy.